Hello, I'm Voidfox, and in this episode, I dive into Tangledeep, an ever-changing 16-bit roguelike stuffed with loads of content. But, is it any good? Is it any good? So this is Tangledeep. It's developed by Impact Gameworks, and it's a turn-based roguelike with, like I said before, amazing 16-bit pixel art graphics. Oh, and for those looking for more information, you can find links in the description below. Okay, so Tangledeep has a bunch of content, and I wanted to start off by just listing a few key features to give you a taste of what to expect. The game sports a collection of different jobs to choose from, each with their own set of active and passive skills. Levels are randomly generated, with some handcrafted content thrown in. There's enemies and bosses to fight, tons of loot to collect. You can capture monsters, you can even make them a pet, and there are randomized mini-dungeons called item dreams, which are spawned from your weapons and used as a method of powering up your gear. So before I get into what I liked and didn't like, I want to talk about how it controls. It has a few options for controlling the character and interface. You can use your gamepad, it's got the ability to use the WSAD keys with your mouse, or you can play completely with the keyboard. It's a turn-based game, so enemies only move and attack when you do, allowing for a lot of strategy and positioning. And of course, this isn't anything new for fans of this type of roguelike. Okay, so what did I like about Tangledeep? It's pixel art. It's incredible. It's detailed, and it's well animated for a turn-based game. It's eye-exploding gorgeous. It's got the kind of charm I remember experiencing in the 16-bit era of gaming. Think Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo. Loot. I love loot, and luckily there's tons of it in Tangledeep. It's dropping like candy. Each piece can roll a rarity, it's got random stats, and on some more powerful gear, some secondary effects. Things like finding extra gold when defeating enemies or providing you with additional skills. The ability to upgrade your gear through the item dreams mechanic is another thing I really like. You basically take your item to this special device, you insert it, and then you insert an orb, and what it does is it generates a random mini dungeon of, X amount of floors, and when you beat that dungeon, your weapon powers up, it levels up in a way. And random stats can be added to it, or random abilities, or you can even customize basically what ability you want fused with that item by finding special orbs that have specific abilities tied to them. So there's a lot of customization there. It's super rad. The class system, or in this case the jobs that you can choose from, are quite different from one another. They're very unique. I really like that aspect. It means it increases the replay value of this game. I especially liked the nature character. She could spawn vines that explode and a little plant pet that would attack for her. It was really cool. It was one of the easier classes to play, but also one of the more unique. But there's something here for everyone, and definitely extends the game's life. The random quest system is cool as well. It's very simple, but it does grant you some extra stuff like additional XP, items, and gold. The game is challenging, but not unfair, so far anyway, with the game time I've put into it. I did like the fact the game had 3 different difficulty modes to select from. I'm expecting these are for different types of players. It gives you the default difficulty, which is how it's intended to be played, where you have only one life, basically permadeath, and the only thing that carries over from one playthrough to the next are things and items that you bank, or your progress in the village. Everything else is gone. But they do also offer a more sort of relaxed mode, like an adventure mode, where when you die you just respawn back to the village and you lose half your stuff instead. As well, for those who are a little bit more daring, you can try out the hardcore mode, which is a permadeath mode, as well as you retain absolutely nothing. So I did like that it had all these different options. In some games, cooking feels like an add-on, but in Tangledeep, it feels necessary. Food has saved my life in countless close calls, and adds to the overall strategy of the game since some of them provide buffs in various forms. The game, believe it or not, even has this Pokemon-ish gotta collect them all thing going on. All the monsters we fight along the way, yeah, those can be captured and brought back to the monster ranch to be raised, cared for. You can groom them, you can feed them. They can also be used as a fighting companion, so you can take them out on your adventures, and they'll fight for you. Or you can even breed them into more powerful pets. Super rad. Now, there wasn't a lot I didn't like, to be honest. Most of my gripes are minor. This list could grow or shrink with the more time I put into the game, starting with some of the UI can be a tad confusing, and in some cases frustrating. An example of this is the inventory screen auto-closing when equipping an item. It felt counterintuitive compared to other RPG inventory management systems I've experienced. I haven't found a way to stop this from happening, and I'm hoping I'm just doing something wrong. And I'm not sure if this is a bug, but there were times my offhand items were automatically unequipping. This was driving me crazy. I did, however, find a workaround. The game allows you to pair items together as a set, but it's not really made clear you can do this. So, I bound my offhand to my main weapon I was using. This fixed it. Unfortunately, what this meant was every time I found a new main weapon, I had to rebind the offhand to it. Moving diagonally in the game is a bit of a pain. However, using the mouse to click on the specific square to move to, or holding the shift key to force the diagonal movement, did help ease the pain. My first impressions of Tangledeep were incredible. It's gorgeous, it has interesting characters, I love all the jobs you can select from, the cooking doesn't feel tacked on, the pet system, the combat, the strategy, the item dungeons, there's just so much packed into this game. I suspect fans of roguelikes will get a ton of replay value. It just seems to be hitting all the right notes in a roguelike. I think it's great so far, I'm having a great time. And I don't really see anything spoiling that for me. Alright, so those are my impressions of Tangledeep. I hope they were helpful, and if they were, feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you think. Oh, and if you're enjoying the content, maybe give the video a like. Heck, you can even subscribe if you want to. There's also a dislike button there in the case you didn't like what you've seen, but just let me know why in the comments below so I can improve my videos in the future. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. This has been Voidfox. I'm out. Is it any good?